Welcome to Alternatify, the place where we dare to ask the most profound historical questions. We journey beyond the known into the tantalizing realm of what if. Today we embark on one of our most ambitious explorations yet. Imagine a world where the seismic events of 1917 never fractured the ancient foundations of the Russian Empire. What if the Romanov dynasty, against all odds, endured? This isn't just a thought experiment, it's an invitation to reshape centuries. We will explore the profound ripple effects of such a survival. We'll consider the triumphs that might have been, the tragedies potentially averted, and the entirely new global landscape that would emerge. Prepare to see history, and perhaps our present, in a startlingly different light. To truly grasp the magnitude of an enduring Russian empire, we must first understand its historical reality. The Russian Empire was a colossus, sprawling across 1/6 of the Earth's landmass. It possessed immense natural resources and a breathtaking diversity of peoples and cultures. Yet beneath this grandeur lay profound contradictions. Vast wealth coexisted with widespread poverty. Autocratic rule clashed with burgeoning calls for reform and representation. Repression simmered beneath a veneer of imperial might. The seeds of decline were sown long before 1917. The Romanov dynasty struggled to adapt to a rapidly modernizing world. Military defeats like the Crimean War and the humiliating Russo-Japanese War exposed deep systemic weaknesses. Social unrest fueled by land hunger and industrial exploitation became a constant threat. World War I proved to be the ultimate catalyst. The immense human and economic cost of the conflict pushed the empire to its breaking point. Millions of casualties, widespread famine, and a collapsing economy eroded public trust. The incompetent leadership of Tsar Nicholas II sealed the empire's fate. By 1917, the dam burst. The February Revolution saw the Tsar's abdication, ending centuries of Romanov rule. Then in October, the Bolsheviks seized power, ushering in an entirely new revolutionary era. The Russian Empire, as it had been known, ceased to exist. But what if history had taken a different turn? Our divergence point begins with a hypothetical yet crucial shift in leadership. Imagine Nicholas II, perhaps spurred by a moment of profound clarity or a more astute advisor, embracing genuine reform. This isn't merely cosmetic change. We envision a Tsar who implements sweeping land redistribution, addressing the core grievances of the peasantry. He might establish a truly constitutional monarchy, sharing power and fostering political stability. Crucially, this reformed empire would prioritize rapid, equitable industrialization. Investment in education would create a more skilled and engaged populace. These reforms would foster a more unified and resilient nation. Such a reformed Russia would enter World War I with greater internal cohesion and a more competent military. It would avoid the catastrophic losses and economic collapse that plagued its historical counterpart. A stronger, more stable Russia could have altered the war's trajectory, perhaps even leading to an earlier, less devastating conclusion. The most immediate and profound consequence of an enduring Russian empire is the absence of the Soviet Union. This single change ripples across the entire 20th century. Without the USSR, the Cold War as we know it simply would not have happened. The global balance of power would be fundamentally reshaped. Russia would remain a major player, but one integrated differently into the world order. It might emerge as a powerful, albeit still autocratic ally to Western democracies, or perhaps a formidable rival in a different geopolitical game. The United States, without a Soviet adversary, would focus its foreign policy elsewhere. Economically, the impact would be staggering. Russia's vast natural resources, coupled with internal stability and reform, could unleash unprecedented growth. Imagine a century of uninterrupted development, transforming global trade patterns and resource markets. The world economy would look vastly different. Socially and culturally, the changes would be equally profound. The Russian Orthodox Church would retain its prominent role, shaping national identity and values. Russian art, literature, and music, unburdened by Soviet ideological constraints, could flourish in new and unexpected ways. The Romanov legacy, rather than being erased, would be preserved and perhaps even celebrated. However, this alternative reality is not a utopia. The potential downsides are significant. Even a reformed empire might retain authoritarian tendencies, suppressing dissent and limiting individual freedoms. Resource exploitation could continue unchecked, leading to environmental degradation. Nationalism, rather than being suppressed, might intensify, potentially fueling ethnic conflicts within the empire's vast borders. The shadow of imperial ambition would still loom large. The absence of the Soviet Union would fundamentally alter the map of Europe. There would be no Iron Curtain dividing East from West. Germany's reunification, if it happened at all, would occur under entirely different circumstances. Eastern European nations would follow unique paths, free from Soviet domination, but perhaps still under the sway of a powerful Russian neighbor. The United States would face a dramatically different 20th century. Without the Cold War, its foreign policy would shift away from containment and proxy conflicts. The military-industrial complex, a defining feature of the historical US, might be significantly scaled back. Domestic priorities, perhaps focusing more on social programs or infrastructure, could take precedence. In Asia, the geopolitical landscape would be unrecognizable. China's rise might be delayed or take a different form, without the ideological and material support it received from the Soviet Union. Russia's relationship with China would be entirely new, perhaps one of cooperation, competition, or even conflict. Japan's post-war position would also be altered without the Cold War dynamics that shaped its alliances. The Middle East and Africa would be transformed by the absence of Cold War proxy conflicts. The region's complex dynamics would unfold without the superpower rivalries that historically fueled many of its wars and political upheavals. The influence of external powers would be different, leading to entirely new regional alignments. Many of the defining conflicts of the 20th century might simply never occur. The Cuban Missile Crisis, a terrifying brush with nuclear annihilation, would be impossible without the Soviet Union. The Korean War and the Vietnam War, both deeply intertwined with Cold War ideologies, would likely be averted or take vastly different forms. Major historical events would also be altered beyond recognition. The Berlin Wall would never be built. German reunification would not be a Cold War triumph. The very nature of globalization, shaped by the post-Cold War order, would evolve differently. Even the War on Terror, a product of specific geopolitical conditions, might not manifest in the same way. In a world without the Cold War's intense ideological rivalry, the space race might have unfolded very differently. Instead of a competitive sprint, we might have seen more collaborative international efforts. This could lead to accelerated space exploration, with an earlier human presence on the Moon or even Mars, driven by shared scientific curiosity rather than nationalistic pride. The focus of technological development could also shift. Without the immense military spending driven by Cold War tensions, resources might be redirected towards more sustainable technologies. We could see accelerated development of renewable energy sources and advanced environmental solutions, addressing climate change much earlier and more effectively. Medical breakthroughs might also accelerate. Increased investment in public health and scientific research, unburdened by the demands of a global arms race, could lead to faster cures for diseases and significant improvements in global healthcare. Imagine a world where pandemics are tackled with even greater scientific unity. The evolution of information and connectivity would be fascinating. Without the Cold War's emphasis on centralized control and surveillance, the internet and artificial intelligence might develop along more decentralized and open paths. This could foster greater global collaboration and knowledge sharing, with fewer barriers to information access. Transportation and communication would also see accelerated progress. Imagine widespread adoption of electric vehicles decades earlier, or a global network of high-speed rail connecting continents. Global connectivity, both digital and physical, would be far more advanced, fostering greater understanding and cooperation. Broad scientific and industrial progress would likely be enhanced. Fields like materials science, biotechnology, nanotechnology and robotics could advance at an even faster pace. Manufacturing processes would be revolutionized, leading to greater efficiency and innovation across all sectors. Beyond technology, human and social development could also accelerate. With fewer resources diverted to conflict, there could be increased investment in education, the arts, and social sciences. Philosophy, ethics, law, and psychology might see enhanced focus, leading to a more nuanced understanding of human society and governance. Ultimately, this alternative reality could foster greater global well-being and cooperation. Accelerated progress in human rights, peace initiatives, and international collaboration might become the norm. The pursuit of democracy, equality, and sustainability could gain unprecedented momentum, shaping a more harmonious and prosperous world. As we conclude our journey into this alternative history, it's crucial to reflect on what we've explored. The question of whether this world would be better is deeply subjective. While we've imagined significant gains in peace and progress, we must also acknowledge the potential for different forms of authoritarianism, new conflicts, and unforeseen tragedies. History is a complex tapestry, and every thread, every event is interconnected. The collapse of the Russian Empire was a pivotal moment, shaping the 20th century in ways we can barely comprehend. To imagine its endurance is to confront the profound complexity of change and the myriad paths that history might have taken. What are your thoughts on this alternative reality? Do you believe an enduring Russian Empire would have led to a more peaceful world, or simply different conflicts? Share your insights in the comments below. Like this video if you found our exploration thought-provoking, and subscribe to Alternatify for more journeys into the what-if. We're always looking for new ideas, so tell us what historical turning points you'd like us to explore next.